Hi, and welcome back to MotionReel Academy's beginner overview of Gravity Sketch 6.0. My name's Andre Bruni, and this is part 6, aligning stuff. All right, before we get started on aligning stuff, I just wanted to throw in a feature that I forgot to add into the last video that I did, and that is Scale Snap. Here it is. In the options, it's on this tab, all right? And you can see it here. It has several levels. Right now, it's set to level 1. If I set this to level 2, to scale, you hold both of these grab buttons down with nothing selected. And if you move your sticks away from each other, scaling snaps to 1, 1, 3/4, half, a quarter, a fifth. You can also set it to an actual percentage, so 50%, 29%, and so forth. And then if you turn it all the way up, then you can't scale at all. Now, let's talk about aligning stuff in Gravity Sketch 6.0. Now, I come from a graphic designer background, so I'm used to Adobe products and the way Adobe products work. If you have several items, like say, now if I was in Photoshop, if I wanted these three things to line up, I would select them all like so, and there would be a button to say, align these on the z-axis or align them on the y-axis. And there's just no way to do that inside of Gravity Sketch. The first way is you can align things to these three axis points. If I want to draw something out and align it, there is a special tool for that here. In the Shapes tool, it looks like this. So I can draw out any of these shapes, and if I use this tool, it will draw it out lined up on whatever axis I choose. And if I half pull my non-drawing hand trigger, like so, you will see there is a line that pops up. This is the alignment line. If it is on an axis, then it will be colored. If it's not on an axis like this, then it will not be colored. A shape or set of shapes to this line if I wanted to draw out. So let me show you how that works. If I now draw a cube on this line, it'll come out perfectly lined up on that. And again, and again. So these three items are now perfectly aligned in all three axes. And they're lined up to this. I can now grab this and move it around. I can also grab this and group it. Here's the group button. When you have something grabbed or multiple items grabbed, and you're holding the grab button, look at your non-drawing hand and you'll see on the purple button there's 3 hexagons. That's the group button. If you click that, it will group the 3 items and send them back to their original spot. Now when I move over this item, you'll see that with my grab spear, you'll see that it turns purple instead of red. Purple items are groups of items. So you'll see the purple line around this, and that is now a group. To ungroup this, I go back to my non-drawing hand, and you'll see the purple button has turned into a new icon. When I click this, it will snap back to its original position, but now it will be ungrouped, and when I move my grab hand over, you'll see that there is a red outline once again. So that's how you group and ungroup items and draw on an axis perfectly aligned. So let me do this one more time on the green axis. Say I want a stack of a building right here. Then I can use this to draw these perfectly aligned with each other. Now I can move them on this same axis and they will stay aligned with each other so that I can position them in whatever spot that I want. And now I have a perfectly aligned stack of boxes. Now there's another way to align things in Gravity Sketch, and that's using the Smart Move tool. So if I draw out a box here, now if I use the Smart Move tool to step and repeat this item, I can, first I must move the grab sphere over the item to select it, then with my non-drawing hand, move parallel, and you'll see the axis line pop up. Grab the item with your grab button, fire off the trigger, move it down the line, and now wherever I fire off the trigger again to make my first duplicate, that's the amount of spacing that it will have. So let's say I want just a little bit of spacing between each one, fire off the trigger, and now when I move down to the next one, it will snap to that exact increment for my next duplicate. Fire again, and again, and again. And here I have, in perfect alignment and perfect spacing, these 4 cubes. All right, now the final way to align things in Gravity Sketch. So let's bring out a cube, and let's move it into rough position. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a plane using the plane tool in the shapes. Select the plane tool and make sure it's set to this. I'm going to half pull my trigger on my non-drawing hand, and I'm going to rotate my hand until it's set up with the... Now when I draw a plane, it'll be perfectly on this axis, as you can see. So this is perfectly lined up with the z-axis. And now if I want to align this plane with this plane, I put this into edit mode, and then if I look at my non-drawing hand, you'll see that there is a snap feature here. 3 levels of snap. The first level doesn't do anything. The second level snaps points to faces. So if I move this point near this face, it will snap, like so. Same thing with this one, and then if I move my camera around, this one as well. Now these 4 points are snapped to this plane, and they're aligned perfectly with the y-axis here. So if I remove this plane, you'll see that this face is now perfectly aligned. You can also use pieces of geometry to align different items. So let me show you an example. Okay, here's 1, 2, 3, 4 cubes, right? If I wanted to align these cubes, I can use one piece of geometry to align them perfectly. First, I'll choose the cube, and I'll use this to draw it with. I want to draw a cube that's perfectly on the x-axis. So first, I'll half pull until I can see the red line. There's the red line. When I let go of my half pull, sometimes it's a little tricky. That's exactly where I'm going to draw this line. So here, I'm going to go ahead and draw out a cube that is long and skinny, like this. I'm going to use this to align these blocks. Now, I can either move these blocks with Smart Move to align it, or I can use the grid. If I turn the grid on, here, grid, now these boxes will move in small increments. There's actually 2 boxes here. So now I can snap these boxes to align with this piece of geometry that I know is perfectly aligned to the x-axis. Then when I don't need this anymore, I can delete it. And there I have these aligned in the way that I wanted. So that's all the alignment tools that I'm going to show you today. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.